Let's be honest, the ocean is a bit of a tease. It sits there, stretching out to the horizon, glimmering under the sun, looking all inviting and mysterious at the same time. It's like it's daring us to come closer, to try and figure out what secrets it's hiding beneath those rolling waves. Always mysterious, and never letting you see what's actually going on under the waves. The surface is just a shiny mask hiding a world that's deeper, darker, and way more interesting than we could ever imagine. From the very beginning, humans couldn't help but wonder what secrets the ocean was hiding. It was like the ultimate locked treasure chest, and we were all just kids with no key, peering in and dreaming about what might be inside. You know, the classic "what's in there" moment, but with a dash of "I hope it doesn't eat me." The ocean was both fascinating and a little bit terrifying, a place of endless possibilities and unknown dangers. Our ancestors stared out at the sea from sandy beaches and rocky cliffs, probably thinking, "Reckon I could swim out there and find some treasure, or maybe just something to eat for dinner." The ocean promised adventure, but it also demanded respect. Spoiler alert, most of them didn't find treasure. Instead, they found empty hands, soggy clothes, and maybe a few interesting shells. But that didn't stop them from coming back again and again, driven by the hope that the next trip might be the lucky one. But that curiosity was the first spark that would eventually send people to the deepest parts of the ocean. No snorkel required. It was the beginning of a journey that would take us from the shoreline to the ocean's most hidden corners. For centuries, the ocean was both a supermarket and a massive do not enter sign. It gave us food, but it also reminded us that it could take it away just as quickly. Storms, waves, and mysterious creatures kept us on our toes. We fished its waters and traveled along its surface, but actually diving in to see what was beneath, that was a whole different kettle of fish. And trust me, there are a lot of fish down there. It took courage, curiosity, and a bit of madness to take that plunge. So, if you've ever felt the urge to chuck on some goggles and jump in, you're not alone. That urge is ancient, woven into our DNA, passed down from generations of explorers and dreamers who wanted to see what was hiding just out of sight. Humans have always wanted to find out what's lurking down there and maybe, just maybe, make friends with a dolphin or two. Because deep down, we're all just curious creatures, eager to connect with the mysteries of the big blue. Back in Roman times, ocean exploration was a bit like trying to do a deep dive in a kiddie pool, limited and slightly awkward. The Romans were more about sunbaking on the beach than swimming with the sharks. Their boats mostly hugged the coastline because, let's be honest, no one wanted to end up in the middle of nowhere with just a toga and a questionable sense of direction. Still, they did their best to get a peek at what the ocean had to offer. Some brave souls went fishing, others rowed out to nearby islands. But diving underwater for a proper squiz, that was strictly for the fish, mate. It's not that the Romans didn't want to explore. They just didn't have the gear for it. No fancy wetsuits, no submarines, just wooden ships and sandals. And the idea of diving deep? That was about as realistic as finding Wi-Fi in ancient Rome. So, while we have a lot to thank the Romans for, roads, aqueducts, and Caesar salads, deep sea exploration isn't high on the list. They gave it a red-hot go, but the technology just wasn't there yet. Let's talk ships. Not just any ships, but the mighty vessels that once ruled the ancient seas, braving storms and unknown horizons. Back in the day, ships were the Ubers of the ocean, minus the surge pricing and chatty drivers. If you wanted to get anywhere across the water, you needed a ship and a bit of luck. Romans and other ancient folk used ships for heaps of things. Hauling goods, moving armies, even transporting prisoners who probably regretted their life. Choices as soon as they saw the boat. Ships were the backbone of trade, war, and exploration, connecting distant lands and cultures. But ships weren't just for getting from A to B, they were floating lookout towers, letting people watch the waves and study the animals popping up for air. Sailors would spend hours scanning the horizon, searching for land, weather changes, or signs of life in the water. Imagine seeing a dolphin for the first time from a ship. Someone probably thought it was a water horse with commitment issues. These encounters sparked stories, legends, and sometimes a bit of confusion about what really lived beneath the waves. Sometimes they'd spot something weird and go, nope, not getting in there. The ocean was full of surprises, and not all of them were friendly. Other times, curiosity got the best of them, and they'd try to catch it. Eat it, or write about it in a scroll. Every strange creature was a potential meal, a mystery to solve, or a tale to tell back home.
Stars. Other times there's not talent.
Fresh sheep seafood was a welcome break from salted black icons. From Satisfy's Starkist, undecided out.
Prepositional conjectives, directions, that have to separate with gorgeous black bird with water discipline.
Further, the sea was vast, and most of its secrets remained hidden from those above. For that, humans would need to dive deeper. Laterally, the urge to explore what lay beneath drove inventors and adventurers to push the limits of technology and courage. A thought, the brave ship captains who risked it all, just for a better view of a turtle. Let's spare a thought for the brave ship captains who risked it all, just for a better view of a turtle. Or glimpse of the unknown. Their curiosity and daring spirit paved the way for the underwater adventures yet to come. Fast forward to 1715 and meet John Lethbridge, a bloke who looked at the ocean and thought, I reckon I can go down there with a barrel and a dream. Lethbridge whipped up the first ever diving suit, which basically made him the original Aquaman. Okay, it was more like a giant wooden tube with armholes, but points for effort. This suit let him stay underwater for about half an hour at a time. Sure, it wasn't exactly comfortable. Think of it as a very soggy, very squish onesie. But it worked. Suddenly, people could finally poke around shipwrecks and see what was on the seafloor instead of just guessing. Imagine showing up to work in 1715 and telling your mates you're off to walk on the ocean floor inside a barrel. Good luck, John. Hope you don't become crab food. They must have thought he'd lost his marbles, but he proved them wrong. John's diving suit didn't win any fashion awards, but it opened the door, or the hatch, for future inventors. Soon, everyone wanted to take a dip, without worrying about growing gills. John Lethbridge's diving suit was like wearing a raincoat in a swimming pool. Awkward, bulky, and not exactly stylish. Augustus Seaby's invention was more like slipping into a wetsuit designed by James Bond. Sleek, functional, and a little bit daring. It was a leap forward in underwater fashion and technology. Back in the 1830s, Seaby created the first proper waterproof diving suit. This wasn't just a minor upgrade. It was a revolution for anyone who wanted to explore beneath the waves. The suit kept water out and let divers breathe underwater, which is, pretty helpful if you're not a fish. For the first time, humans could stay submerged for longer periods without risking their lives every second. This new suit made diving safer and way more comfortable. No more soggy clothes or freezing limbs. Divers could actually focus on the job at hand, instead of worrying about drowning or hypothermia. Divers could stay down longer and look for lost treasure, sunken ships, and mysterious objects hidden beneath the sea. The ocean floor was suddenly open for exploration, or even their own lunch if they happened to drop it overboard. Suddenly, the impossible became possible, and underwater mishaps were just another part of the adventure. Seaby's suit was a total game changer, like finding out your socks are actually waterproof, but, way more useful. It set the standard for all future diving gear and inspired generations of underwater explorers. Thanks to CB, people started exploring all sorts of underwater places. Salvage operations, underwater repairs, and even daring rescue missions became possible, opening up a whole new world of opportunity. And even marine biology got a massive boost. Scientists could finally study marine life up close, observing creatures in their natural habitat instead of just guessing from the surface. And best of all, you didn't have to smell like a soggy log every time you went for a dive. Dry, warm, and ready for the next adventure. Divers everywhere had CB to thank for that. So, next time you see someone in a diving suit, give a little nod to old Augustus. His ingenuity made it possible for us to explore the mysteries of the deep without fear. He made it possible to explore the underwater world without drowning or looking completely ridiculous. Well, mostly. And who knows? Maybe your next big adventure will be thanks to a little inspiration from CB's legendary suit. You've heard of Dutch ovens, but have you heard of Dutch submarines? Back in 1620, Cornelis Drebbel from the Netherlands built the first ever sub. It looked more like a wooden canoe with a roof than anything you'd see in the movies, but hey, everyone starts somewhere. This early submarine could slip beneath the surface and cruise along the Thames River in London. People must have thought it was magic, or at least very dodgy plumbing. They couldn't go very deep, but it was the first step in going full Finding Nemo mode. The sub was powered by oars, which meant you had to be fit and keen. Imagine rowing your way underwater, hoping you don't spring a leak or bump into a confused fish. It wasn't exactly smooth sailing, but it got the job done. The Dutch proved that the ocean could be explored from inside a box, not just on top. Pretty soon, everyone wanted their own submarine, preferably with fewer splinters. The submarines tried to go deeper. Inventors realized wood wasn't going to cut it. Water pressure at depth is like an over-enthusiastic hug. It'll squash you flat if you're not careful. Enter metal submarines, strong, sturdy, and way less likely to turn into driftwood. Using metal-meant subs could go much deeper without imploding. Now explorers could visit the ocean's darker, weirder corners. No more rowing with oars, either. Engines made these metal beauties way faster and more reliable, unless you forgot to bring the keys. Of course, building a metal submarine was a massive job. You needed heaps of know-how, not to mention nerves of steel, pun absolutely intended. But the payoff was huge. Humans could finally travel where sunlight barely reached. Thanks to these upgrades, submarines went from floating bathtubs to high-tech underwater explorers. The only thing missing was a minibar and maybe some Netflix. If there were an Olympics for going deep, the Challenger Deep mission would win gold, silver, and probably the underwater relay. In 1960, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh climbed into a submarine called the Trieste and dropped all the way down to the Challenger Deep, the lowest point in the ocean. That's almost 11,000 meters down, or 36,000 feet if you prefer your numbers big and scary. The pressure down there is so intense, it's like having 50 jumbo jets parked on your head. But the Trieste was built tough, with walls thicker than your grandma's lasagna. Piccard and Walsh spent 20 minutes at the bottom, probably wondering if they'd seen any mermaids or just some very confused shrimp. It was a massive moment for science and bragging rights. They came back up with stories, data, and probably a craving for fresh air. Suddenly, the idea of exploring the deepest places on Earth wasn't just a pipe dream. It was reality. After that, everyone wanted to go at deep-sea diving. The Challenger Deep mission proved that if you build it strong enough, humans will dive. These days, ocean exploration is all about robots, drones, and high-tech gear. We've gone from Romans in rowboats to robots with GoPros. Who knows what the next big thing will be? Maybe submarines shaped like dolphins, or scuba suits with built-in Spotify playlists. But one thing hasn't changed. People are still just as curious as ever. The ocean is massive, mysterious, and still hiding secrets. Whether you're a scientist, a surfer, or just someone who likes to binge-watch documentaries, there's always something new to discover. And let's be real, robots are cool, but it all started with humans willing to take a risk, and sometimes a soggy sandwich, to find out what's down there. From wooden barrels to metal subs, it's been a wild ride. So next time you're at the beach, give a little salute to the explorers, past, present, and future. The ocean's wild ride is far from over, mate. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next one to make a splash.